was a long, long, long time ago when there was a noble king who was wise, complex, complicated. He was King Solomon. And King Solomon had a trusty advisor who was his dear friend. But he was starting to get a little tired. He was starting to get a little tired of his constant boasting, of his great exploits. And so he called him over one day and he said to him, "There is a ring that I have heard of. There is a ring, a magical ring that can change people's moods. When one who is happy looks at that ring, sadness overcomes them. And one is sad, and they look at that ring, joy fills their hearts. I want you to go find that ring for me. In 6 months' time to the day, I want you to return with that ring." And so the advisor said, "If such a ring exists, I will bring it back to you, O king." And he left to go on that adventure, while King Solomon knew that in fact no such ring ever existed. And so the advisor left, and he traveled throughout the land and throughout the lands. He would go to the goldsmiths. He would go to the silversmiths. He would go to the jewelers. And he would ask of such ring. And always it was the same answer. They had never heard of such a thing. And so he went to the mystics and the magicians and the kings. They too heard nothing of this ring, not even a whisper. And the days turned to weeks, which turned to months. And soon it was time for that advisor to make his way home. And then when he entered the kingdom, he was no wiser than when he left. And he was making his way back to the castle when he passed through the marketplace. And the marketplace was just closing, and there was an old jeweler who was wrapping up his wares. And the advisor went up to him and said, "I'm going to ask you the same question that I have asked so many times. Have you heard of a ring? Do you know of a ring that exists in this world, a magical ring? That when one who is happy looks upon it, grief fills their heart. And when one who is sad looks upon it, joy overcomes them." And the old man thought for a moment. And he said, "I think I know the ring you are speaking of." And he reached down and he grabbed a gold band that was bare, that was empty, that was plain. And he took out his tools and he wrote some words, engraved some words upon that ring. And when he was done, he said, "I believe this is the ring you are looking for," and handed it to the advisor, saying, "This is a gift for the king." And the advisor looked at that ring, read the words, and knew that he had finally found what he was looking for. And he went back to the palace. And now King Solomon, he invited all the other advisors and other guests there for a great feast. And when the advisor, the most trusted advisor, came in, King Solomon said, "Oh, you have returned. Have you found the ring?" And to Solomon's surprise, the advisor said, "In fact, I have." And he brought the ring and he handed it to the king. And the king looked at that ring and read what was upon it. And he looked up and the smile left his face. And he looked at all that he had, all the admirers who were there, all the fine food, his kingdom, his wisdom, everything that he had. He thought of it. and tears began to stream down his face. And he wept and he wept. And then he looked at that ring again. And this time he read the words. And it filled his heart with joy. And he started laughing and laughing and laughing. For the words upon that ring were those immortal words. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And so, my friends, in these times that we are in these times where some of you may find joy, but others may find heartbreak and hard times, I remind you of those immortal words as well. This too shall pass.